Chapter 5408. Go home. No, they didn't lose their feathers this time, and they were all dressed up. Kuan Tai took the people and left first. Luo Chuan informed his master Turtle Island master and the people from the military department of the Moluo nation they didn't need to stay, and it was embarrassing for people to see it. After the world of a cup of tea, a huge tortoise shell appeared. Before the body arrived, the spiritual consciousness had arrived. On the huge tortoise shell, there is this human face, kind-looking. Luo Chuan hastily respectfully worshipped. Master he didn't need to elaborate. The master of Guiling Island mobilized the space of heaven and earth, and examined it carefully. Let's go back with me. The voice of the master of Guiling Island seemed very majestic. Jian Wushuang and others' foreign trade had been recorded, but the space was destroyed by others, and there were no clues at all. But the best eternal treasure, but it is carefully watched. Blood Luo Jing. Ancient cave house. These have to be checked carefully. Such a powerful treasure cannot be so simple. Luo Chuan did not dare to refute, and followed the turtle shell to return. But the real body of the Guiling Island Lord remained. It's just that in addition to him, there is also arrived here. The incoming person is the Fifth Order Emperor. He does not leave a name in the ancient times, and he does not have any name in the four great secret realms, but his strength makes the Sixth Order Emperor also bow his head. Island owner. Inheritor. Turtle Island Master's small eyes flashed. With such a powerful aura of the Fifth Order Emperor, who else could it be if it wasn't the inheritor? That ancient cave mansion was obviously not as simple as Jian Wushuang and others imagined. The top powerhouses among the inheritors are dispatched. Kun Tai, who left, was not reconciled, and when he returned to Guiling Island to be entangled in whether to report the matter, he learned that the eldest Prince Rosha had broken through and became the Fifth Order Emperor, and as soon as he left the customs, he was the Fifth Order peak. He didn't hesitate and reported the matter directly. Rosa frowned. The Guiling Island owner has gone, how dare he fight for it? But with the banner of the Moluo nation, how dare he not go? At the moment, the army will be deployed to conquer the Sequoia waters. The Dark Sea. The world is depressed. On a deserted island, the skeletons of sea monsters are scattered. The dark clouds in the sky are so low that they can be touched by looking up, but in reality they are far away from the ground. The water in the sea has turned black under the gloomy clouds. This is how the Black Demon Sea comes from. The three Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged on the mountain break of the island, each recovering their strength. King White is okay, he can't use up his many sources, mainly because the divine body and the flesh are too weak. Fortunately, Gong Miao Yi also got the treasures of tens of billions of sacred stones that Gong Yun left for him from the cave. They were treasures accumulated by Xingchen Pavilion for countless years, and some of them were stored here by other strong men. Now they were all taken by the White King to upgrade the physical body and the divine body. Originally, King White was preparing to wait for the gods to grant the flesh and the gods, but he just received a shocking news. Both the divine body and the physical body exist, but he needs to take it by himself. As for where it is, everything has his own will. These words made Jian Wushuang laugh at the world for a long time. Gong Miaoyi used all his time to improve his control of Shui Luojing, and his strength has been significantly improved. In order to suppress her, King White must quickly improve his strength. Jian Wushuang recovered very quickly, and a trace of thought was a clone of Gong Miaoyi's body for a long time, comprehending the ultimate meaning. Especially the previous word town. The ultimate meaning contained in it is very deep. Kendo. Jian Wushuang realized it carefully. He actually realized the sword intent from Gong Miaoyi's origin, but the opponent was not a kendo practitioner. The illusion contained in the origin of space. How could there still be the origin of kendo in the origin of Gong Miaoyi? The only thing that can be explained is that her father is a strong swordsman, at least an emperor. That makes sense. He doesn't care about so many, just comprehend it. A single word made him comprehend a lot of pure kendo origins. For the 8th level of ultimate kendo, finally there is a clear sense of it. After the punishment, it was suppression. The town is over, what's behind? Jian Wushuang shook his head, and now the town hasn't figured it out, he can't look so far. This time I practiced, very selfless, The three of them went forward together, unknowingly, on this deserted island, cultivating for thousands of years. Everything from the outside world is ignored. They are all top powerhouses, and they have been closed for 1,000,000 years, and hundreds of millions of years are not too long. For many emperors, an important retreat is several epochs. Of course, most of it took time to accelerate. Just like Zhen Wushuang. The 1,000 times time house is not very expensive. Thousands of years outside, there are millions of years inside, and 1,000,000 years of practice may be just an epiphany, and I haven't felt that a long time has passed. The outside world has undergone earth-shaking changes during this period of time. The Mo Luo kingdom attacked in a big way and flattened Sequoia Island, Xingchen Pavilion was destroyed, and all the high-level officials were detained. Dozens of fifth-order emperors stationed in the vortex waters. The owner of Guiling Island is even more personal. In addition to these people, there are inheritors. Zhen Wuyang even had a battle with the owner of Guiling Island. That ancient cave mansion has been shattered. Can imagine that there is a lot of involvement. Not only because of the eternal treasure of the best. Although there are few top eternal treasures, they still can't attract inheritors, and there are several. In the end, the two parties discussed and wanted Gong Miaoi and two other mysterious emperors. Look for the whereabouts of Shui Luojing. Vortex waters. Several palaces face each other far away. It is said that they are strong from the two sides. In fact, in addition to the Turtle Island Master, there are also strong from the Moluo Kingdom. Although the Great Elder did not come, he also sent several Tier 5 strong to come. Meaning, on the inheritors' side, in addition to Zhen Wuyang, there are also the Tongtian Buddha that Zhen Wushuang is familiar with, and Kaishui Walker. Before entering the Temple of Chishan, they were all Tier 4 tops, and Kaishui Walker reached the Tier 4 peak. But now, the three of them are all Tier 5 pinnacle powerhouses. The strengths are all against the sky. A true Wuyang can fight with the 6th order peak of the Turtle Spirit Island owner, although there is still the fear of the Turtle Spirit Island owner, but the truth is true combat power. These three people work together. Turtle Island Lord is really not an opponent. In the hall where the inheritor is located. Zhen Wuyang's high seat theme, this time it was Zhen Ling's preference for him, and first told him that there would be a chance here, but one person couldn't grab it, so he pulled the two of Tongtian Buddha and Kaishui Walker. He was naturally the initiator of this time. Brother Zhenwu, the three of us are enough. There is no need to look for other people. Isn't it just an old thing that has become a good one? The three of us are enough to deal with. Kaishui Xingzhe is very confident. Of course, I am afraid of calling other people. Come here, and the divided things will have one less copy. Zhen Wuyang considers a lot in his actions, unlike Kaishui Traveler who has spent a lot of time on his own, and he is very unique in what he does. The Tongtian Buddha sitting on the other side laughed and said nothing. He didn't have any opinion on this matter, so he could do whatever he wanted. Chapter 5409. Among the three, the strength is very vague. However, in terms of opportunities, the Buddha of the Heavens is even better. The Buddha of the Heavens has won the first prize in the Tomb Mountain and has become the most popular inheritor. On the Tomb God Mountain, the three gods of the Chishan Temple are inherited, and there is no shortage of treasures and secrets. This time, it is the right to visit the mountains and play. Kaishui was not bad either. It was originally from a special life, and the divine body was stronger than the special life conceived in the tomb of the divine. He is a divine body that is 10,000 times as soon as he appears, and since he has cultivated, what he lacks is the treasure and the secret method of the divine body. On the Tombshan Mountain, they have all made up for him. The divine body climbed all the way, the cultivation was the smoothest, and he also got the cosmic secret method of taking the divine body route. Now the strength is very powerful, and he is also a man of the wind on the Tomb Mountain. On the contrary, Zhen Wuyang has strong abilities, but he just can't jump out of a particular way. In general, the strength is very strong, and as a successor is very good, but it can be said that it is against the sky, not on the edge. No good. This is what Zhenling gave him. Fighting the divine body with Kaishui, although Zhen Wuyang has the divine body of Zhenwu, it has only broken through 30,000 times when it reaches the Tomb Mountain. Now the basic divine body has reached about 40,000 times, plus the unique knowledge of the divine body, it is about 50,000 times at most. It's against the sky in the 4 secret realms, but it's normal in the Tomb Mountain. Chishu's basic divine body was broken 50,000 times. This is already the peak level of Tier 6. The spatial origin of the Tongtian Buddha has reached the realm of the black hole, with a perfect inheritance, and is no longer pursuing other things. Now he is devoted to creating his own secret method, and is taking the advanced route. The future is the existence that wants to reach the top. One is to walk the divine body, and the other is to walk the orthodox spatial origin. Just Zhen Wuyang has no goals. This opportunity is rare in a lifetime, and it is impossible to miss it, otherwise it will be too far behind other people. Fortunately, his current strength can still be comparable to that of Tongtian Kaishui and his ilk. If he doesn't fight, he will have to be the bottom. Also shame them to the practitioners of the Eastern universe. The current Tomb Mountain is also lined with hills. Fengyu, Kaishui, Tongtian, Zhen Wuyang and others. But they are still the strongest on their side. The juniors do not lose either. In particular, Hua Qing, who is in the world of Tongtian Buddhism, has always been ranked in the top of the ultimate Taoist monarchs, with strong strength. On the Tomb God Mountain, many Dayan immortals have been visited in batches over the years. Although the ultimate Daoist is less, there are only 1,000 people in total. They all know that in the future, these younger generations who master the ultimate way will be able to accomplish things. They are just escorts to lead the way, so they also value these younger generations very much. Although there is a gap in the source, they are unwilling to give up. The road to the peak of the future is not so easy to take. Everything is relative, the ultimate way is very strong, but a group can get stuck with the way, and climbing to the top is extremely difficult. For those of them who are not the ultimate way, it is difficult to reach the top, but it is much simpler than the ultimate way. With 10,000 ultimate emperors, it is not bad to be able to reach the top 5. This is still guided by the Temple of the Gods, and the manpower and material resources spent in it, plus the resources are countless. And there are not 10,000 ultimate emperors to train for the Chishan Temple. That's why it was relaxed and let the emperors like Zhen Wuyang also enter the Tomb Sacred Mountain for future consideration. Zhen Wuyang was in the main hall of the main hall, thinking for a long time, and said, "Our opponent, not in the face. He can't forget the entrustment of the true spirit. The opportunity that even the true spirit values very much, and this opportunity is not controlled by the true spirit, and it may fall when entering. Don't be such a trifle. On the bright side, there is only a Turtle Island owner, which is not a thing. Together, the 3 can suppress it. Brother Zhenwu, it's better to be like this." Tongtian Buddha said, "We spread the news, notify the people on the Tomb Mountain, and notify the entire 4 secret realms. It doesn't matter how many people come, but the alliance of the 3 of us remains the same." Kaishui Traveler was a little unwilling, so I am afraid that it would attract a lot of strong people. If the chances are great, I'm afraid those great bosses will come, and then there will be nothing for them. Kaishui quickly retorted, "Never, if this is spread out, not to mention the people on the Tomb God Mountain, the temple and the Elder Palace will send strong people to come, plus those old indigenous monsters. How can I it from these people?" No, Brother Kaishui didn't understand what I meant." Tongtian Buddha paused, then turned to look at Zhen Wuyang and said, "Where did this opportunity come from?" "It was given by Master Zhenling. No matter what decision we make, you have to notify Lord True Spirit first." This is a bet on Kaishui Traveler's mouth. The 3 of them all have Dharmakayas in the Tomb Mountain, and Kai is undergoing a change. The 3 of them discussed it and decided to ask the True Spirit first. On the other hand, the owner of Turtle Island is also very entangled. A true Wuyang was enough for a headache, and as a result, 2 inheritors came again, both of whom were not weak in strength. One was powerful and could not be beaten to death. He is really panicked now, Ukanshu. He invited all the other strong players that Com had been watching from the outside world. Several 6th Order emperors on the west coast, and the Guiling Island owners are not very good at them. However, the people in the core waters don't look down on the open seas, and if they are invited, they will oppose him. It is better not to invite them. On the west coast, in terms of strength, The owner of Guiling Island is naturally ranked first. It has been at the top of Tier 6 for many years. If this is not the case, the army of the Moluo Kingdom would not dare to fight on the west coast. This is all thanks to the blessing of Guiling Island. Brother Turtleling, this thing is actually very simple. The master of Guiling Island followed the sound and looked at a young man with a toad face. Of course, he looked at the essence. The person who opened the mouth indicated that he was a young man in Yushu facing the wind, and he was dressed in white clothes like snow. It looks like a person, but it's actually a toad in a stinking ditch on the west coast. No wonder the inland sea looks down on these people on the west coast. The ontology didn't want to admit it, and each regarded themselves as a human race. But now everyone is sitting together, there is no difference between high and low. The Turtle Spirit Island Master raised his hand and said, "Brother Tian-chan, you go on. Brother Tortoiseling, how are we going to open the ruins you mentioned?" Tian-chan arched his hands. The Guiling Island Master was a little embarrassed, but this was the point. The treasure that opened the ruins now has not been obtained yet. It is the blood Luojing that needs to be inherited by Gong Miaoyi. In fact, Tian-chan and others were almost inquiring about, they all knew who took it away, and now they sent people to search around. I think that at the moment, we still need to find the blood Luojing first. Don't worry about the inheritors. We have obtained the method of enlightenment. Just go in directly. We haven't done anything to them, and it's not offensive. People of the temple. What else can we do? After dealing with the temple for so many years, they have also figured out what the temple does. Chapter 54:10. The Nalan family was ransacked, but also because Nalin was touched, they went privately to the blocked forest of 10,000 treasury, and dared to sell their places publicly. Isn't this drinking the blood of the temple? It's not a pity to die so boldly. The same thing about the heavens back then. An extremely strong man slaughtered wantonly, to plunder a Taoist inheritor. This is also looking for death. Although they are the 6th Order Emperor, they are dealing with the 5th Order inheritors, and everyone is about the same strength. Even if you kill the opponent, the temple will not be stupid enough to seek revenge on them. This can only mean that the inheritor is not strong enough, and he would like others. If you blindly protect it, but let the inheritors not be in danger, how will it become a major event in the future? Tian-chan's words awakened the Guiling Island Master, and then he also understood the truth clearly. As long as it is not too much, the temple should not do anything to them. After discussing properly, they began to send people to look around for Gong Miaoyi's whereabouts. It also issued a high-priced reward. Just by reporting the position of Gong Miaoyi, 100 billion sacred stones can be obtained. Being able to catch Gong Miaoyi can also get the shelter of several 6th Order emperors and countless treasures. This news directly made the powerhouses in the outer seas and the west coast crazy. Especially after knowing that Gong Miaoyi only had the strength of the 4th Order peak, all the 5th Order emperors were dispatched, and even the 4th Order emperors were also forming a group to look for Gong Miaoyi's whereabouts. This matter has caused a sensation for 100 years. The whole open sea is boiling, and other sea monsters are still catching, all dreaming of making a fortune. Zhen Wuyang and others jumped and cursed when they knew it. Fortunately, the real spirit also gave help, and the emperors of the Tomb Mountain can go. However, in secret, they informed the palace of the elders. As for the people in the temple, they have been strictly prohibited from touching them, and even let the people in the temple notify all the most powerful people about this matter, who will go and who will die. Bai Yi almost died of anger. There were no traces in the past. They ate meat and others drank soup. It's better now, not only does it have no meat, but it doesn't divide any soup. This also allows him to lead people. He had to go and threaten those who were extremely strong. He finished offending people, but didn't get any benefits. After receiving the news, the Senate Palace directly asked Wu Zuo from the Law Enforcement Hall to lead people there. Of course, Wu Zuo was in charge of the town and the others went to fight for it. Treasures are all trivial things, and they can also be inserted in the land boundary in the future. But this time is the most reasonable reason to shoot. Suddenly, the entire West Sea was in chaos, and countless powerful men swarmed in. In chaos. The ancestors of the great Xia kingdom were also dispatched. The old shofar man didn't bring anyone, but if he brought it, he would leak his flaws. He still learned this news in the palace of the elders. The people in the Wuzhou belt also quietly settled in the chaotic domain. Jian Wushuang and the others who are still in retreat in the Black Devil Sea don't know anything about this, and they are still working hard now, thousands of miles away from this deserted island. There is a team of strong men led by the Fifth Order Emperor, sneaking under the sea. In the team, a Tier 4 Pinnacle Emperor suggested, "Senior Mo, there is an unknown island in front of you, so why don't you go there and see?" These people were all formed temporarily. Today, a Fifth Order Emperor can easily recruit a dozen Fourth Order Peak Emperors. After all, although the target of the search is the Fourth Order Peak, but it can be found by so many big men, how can it be ordinary people, ordinary Fourth Order Peak Emperors? I am afraid that they are not opponents at all, and they must be led by the Fifth Order Emperor to be sure. Even if they are lost, they can at least save their lives, and sell a position to earn some money. 100 billion sacred stones. If you can catch it, everyone can get 100 billion, and there are several Sixth Order Emperors' promises, and the whole Shihai will not go sideways in the future. You're afraid that you are not foolish. Do you think that everyone else is stupid and will hide in such a conspicuous place on the island? As soon as this sentence came out, many people laughed. The Fifth Order Emperor interrupted, "Well, we are here to find people, not to play, but now that we have met, we will take a personal look. Don't miss any opportunity." "Yes. Senior Mo, it is as thin as a silk." The Tier 4 Peak Powerhouse who was the first to put forward an opinion sneered from the bottom of his heart. This is the benefit of being strong. What the two said was the same, but the reply they got was very different. If he is a Fifth Order Emperor, tut. Thump. The request he made was naturally to check it out in person. When he broke through the water, many people still mocked. He didn't care about this. What if it's really on that island? When the time comes, he will have done a great job. When the water broke out, the sea water on his body had not yet fallen, and an explosive breath erupted, directly evaporating the sea water, and then the figure rushed towards the deserted island with the sound of breath bursting. Someone. King White was stunned for a moment, then stood up. He had stopped training long ago, and he needed treasures to improve his physical body and divine body. After all the treasures of tens of billions of sacred stones were used up, he naturally stopped. Now his divine body has barely broken 30,000 times, and he has also cultivated the heavenly demon's unique knowledge given by Jian Wushuang, and now his divine body has increased to 50,000 times. It's a small peak. Now the combat power is directly comparable to the Sixth Order level, plus the origin, it is already able to break the wrist with the Sixth Order Emperor. He kept squeezing a sigh of relief. After acquiring the origin, he wanted to release, but was hanged and beaten by someone. It was Jian Wushuang desperately trying to let him escape. This time his strength was restored to the Sixth Order Emperor. He must find Kuan Tai to take revenge, and he must kill the opponent. Now when I meet someone, the corners of my mouth are raised, and I am looking forward to it. The Fourth Order Emperor. King Bai shook his head, and when he approached, he found that he was a young man, and he was still ugly, and he couldn't help sighing. The visitor was a little surprised, and then leaked a surprise, which really made him meet a living person. They have been in the Black Demon Sea for several years, and they met a practitioner for the first time. The young man was surprised at first, and then a little surprised. He frowned and said that he was not good enough, and he couldn't see the strength of the other party, so he might be a strong one in hiding here. As for whether it was Gong Miaoyi and others, he didn't know, because he couldn't even see the other party's appearance. King Bai was a little impatient. He was stared at by an ugly monster. He felt a little uncomfortable. He said viciously, "Boy, what do you look at? Get out of here, otherwise." When speaking, King Bai revealed his face. When he saw it, his eyes shrank suddenly, and he took a breath of cold air. "You." He even forgot the rumors so excited. Thinking of this, he quickly rumored it to the senior Mo, and then forcibly calmed down. King White sneered, thinking that the other party was frightened, and then he was taken aback to find that someone behind him rushed towards this side. Jian Wushuang in the time room also opened his eyes, feeling a strong breath approaching, and feeling a little irritable in his heart. The ultimate way has reached the 7th floor. He has a hunch that he can break through by adding a word behind the town, but for some reason, he just can't think of what to add. Chapter 54:11, Town. Kill. No, Jian Wushuang shook his head. Suppression is even worse. Kendo needs to be fierce. Suppression is too tactful. It can be strangled. Why do you suppress it? Town. Jian Wushuang broke through the ground directly, stood beside King Bai, staring at the 4th Order Peak Emperor in the air, leaking a smile. Before he could speak, a group of people appeared in the sea area behind, headed by an ordinary 5th Order Emperor. Much weaker than Kuntai, it seemed that he was a poor ghost who didn't even have the eternal treasure. This kind of 5th Order Emperor, also in the same rank, is also very embarrassing. The 4 secret realms are rich in products, but they are mixed up like this: either they have just broken through, or they are unwilling to take risks. Even if you don't want to take risks, just like that Kuntai, you can be a dog for people, and you can get an eternal treasure for a few years. Don't want to take risks, and don't want to be a dog. Still thinking about becoming stronger, that's only the pie in the sky. Don't say it, it's a pie in the sky today. Don't do it. When he received the rumors, he was first overjoyed, and directly led people to rush over, with unstoppable momentum. But when he saw Jian Wushuang and King Bai, he was stunned again. Isn't it just a few tier 4 peaks that are good? Why these two can't see the strength of each other? For a time, there were many thoughts in my mind, and the comparison of appearance was undoubtedly accurate. The young emperor who was the first to spot King Bai pointed to the two below and said frantically, "Senior Mo, if I found it, I will say there will be someone here," said and looked at other people with a wry expression. This time he remembered a lot. But before he was happy, Mo Gan slapped it out and directly stunned the young emperor. Mo Gan had an expression of hatred for iron, and flung his sleeves, then leaked a smile, looked at King Bai, and said embarrassingly, "My nephew, I don't know the manners, and I hope friends will forgive me." Changing faces is faster than turning a book. Although everyone is surprised, they understand. Even Mogan couldn't see the opponent's strength, and these people couldn't see clearly. Let alone catch the opponent. I'm afraid they are not opponents. The safest way now is to pass the entire position one by one. Mo Gan had a sacred stone of transmission on his body, and the moment he found it, it was passed to the master of Guiling Island. 100 billion is stable, and the key is to seize the other party. Now it seems that there is no such opportunity. The opponent's strength can't be seen clearly, and it's too much. The young man who was beaten was a little dazed. When he wanted to speak, the emperor, who was short-handed and quick-eyed behind him, slapped him on the head again and stunned him directly. Jian Wushuang turned his head and glanced at King Bai. Both of them were also very confused. Obviously, this group is hiding something, and it is related to them. Do it, boom. Jian Wushuang exploded directly, and a sword cut through the deep dark clouds in the sky. Killed a 4th Order Emperor in an instant. His kendo has become stronger again. The White King's strength recovered well, and with a quick press, everyone was frozen in the air. Watching Jian Wushuang slaughter these people. The young man who was knocked out was by Jian Wushuang casually and still came to King Bai, "Keep this person." These 4th Order Emperors were too weak, and Jian Wushuang was too lazy to fight, killing them all. Only the 5th Order Emperor named Mo Gan remained. At this moment the opponent almost knelt down. Reluctance to take risks is to cherish life, and reluctance to be a dog cannot let go of dignity. Compared with dignity, life is still under pressure, otherwise he would not dare to take risks. "Friend of Daoist, I will tell you everything I know." Mo Gan knelt down and looked at Jian Wushuang with fear in his eyes. Jian Wushuang frowned as he looked at him, and he didn't know how this person had cultivated into a 5th Order Emperor. If you think about it, maybe the other party was also a zealous cultivator, but after reaching the Emperor, he couldn't break through, and he slowly fell. Too fateful, not good. Practitioners, if they want to be strong, the first thing they give up is their own destiny. Jian Wushuang was also very fateful, but at the critical moment, he dared to fight. All of this, it was not spelled out. At the time Jidao, he almost couldn't come back. The physical body, after he succeeded in the 9 exercises, condensed the 10 exercises, and almost fell. If you don't work hard, you will have no strength, and without strength, there will be no dignity. The order must be right. Obviously, this 5th order emperor has forgotten his previous pursuit. Stand up. Jian Wushuang shouted angrily. He couldn't see others wasting. Especially the practitioners who are greedy for life and fear of death are even more disgusted. After being yelled at, Mo Gan glanced at King Bai first. He knew at a glance that one was the strong, and in his eyes, there was only the strong. Although Jian Wushuang threatened his life now, it was all because of King Bai. He felt that as long as King Bai nodded, he would survive. If you don't get up, I will kill you now. Stand up and fight with me. If you win, go. If you lose, you will be left with your life. Jian Wushuang held the simple long sword upside down and looked at each other deeply. The 5th order emperor, ordinary level. There is no powerful treasure, this is a good whetstone, just to verify kendo. But Mo Gan was too careful and still didn't want to get up. Jian Wushuang said coldly, "Don't make a move. Let King White accept the means." Hearing these words, Mo Gan was stunned for a moment. A 4th order emperor was able to order a strong man who was suspected to be a 6th order emperor. The 6th order emperor, in his opinion, is the pinnacle. No one dares to threaten him. He does not need to be a dog for anyone. He is a big power, and he does not need to look at anyone's face. Standing up tremblingly, Mo Gan said hoarsely, "How can you promise to let me go?" Hearing these words, Jian Wushuang couldn't help laughing. "You are so confident to beat me?" Jian Wushuang stared at the opponent. Mo Gan moved his body, and when he looked at Jian Wushuang, there was not much fear in his eyes. According to Jian Wushuang's methods just now, the opponent was just a 4th order extreme powerhouse, not a 5th order emperor. How could he lose? This is indeed the case. Jian Wushuang does not have a 5th order emperor, but now he is no longer on the same level as a 5th order emperor, and he once even pitted the 5th order emperor Kuntai. There is no difficulty in dealing with a tier 5 ordinary emperor who is greedy for life and fear of death. Mo Gan had no hatred for King Bai, only awe. But it hated Jian Wushuang, a 4th order emperor who dared to do so, not because there was a strong backing him behind him. But he didn't dare to say it. This, have to take an oath. Jian Wushuang slashed directly, and yelled, "Only you also swear an oath, no matter whether you win or lose today, you will die." This person was hopeless, and Jian Wushuang didn't treat him as a human being, so he shot directly. Hearing these words, Mo Gan had this despair in his eyes. "You shameless child, if you don't have the protection of the elders in your family, the old man will be able to destroy you at will." But after Mo Gan took a shot, he realized that it was a bit difficult to move casually. Boom. Chapter 54:12. Without paying attention, Mo Gan was smashed into the island below by Jian Wushuang's sword, directly shattering the small island. Gong Miaoyi also walked out of the time house. When he saw everything in the outside world, he didn't make a move, and stood side by side with King Bai, watching Jian Wushuang fight the 5th order emperor. Her current strength has skyrocketed again, and she has already broken through to become a 5th order emperor, and she is not an ordinary 5th order emperor, but a 5th order emperor with this top eternal treasure. I wanted to get rid of these people. It was discovered that the strength of the White King had improved too quickly, and now it has 6 levels. But Jian Wushuang did not improve too much. She really didn't understand why the two were so different in strength that King Bai could still listen to Jian Wushuang. When Jian Wushuang appeared in her source, she understood, thinking that King Bai was also threatened by Jian Wushuang. Town. Jian Wushuang held the sword in both hands, his eyes closed slightly. At this moment, he and the sword became one. It was very simple. It was very difficult to condense the characters with the sword. Kuan Tai, who rushed out of the ruins, was a bit astonished, but he was still able to display his full strength, turning his hand into a knife, and heading straight to Jian Wushuang. Facing this fierce blow, Jian Wushuang still did not move. "I'll be in front of you soon." King Bai was panicked and reminded loudly, "Do you want me to make a move?" Gong Miaoyi on the side was also a little surprised. She didn't expect Jian Wushuang to fight like this. Obviously, It is necessary to step into a desperate situation and seek a breakthrough. Town. When the hand knife pierced his eyebrows, he yelled, then opened his eyes. Looking at Mo Gan, Jen Wushuang leaked a sneer. Seal. Click. Mo Gan's body actually started to freeze, and at the same time a surprised expression appeared on his face. All this is frozen at this moment. Jen Wushuang didn't make any moves, just a glance contained a lot of sword intent. The moment Mo Gan solidified, he had already fallen. Cool. King Bai looked at him with trepidation and let out a sigh of relief. The ultimate kendo broke through. Jen Wushuang was very excited. It was not only a simple breakthrough, but also a qualitative leap in his experience of kendo. Zhenfeng. The two words have similar meanings, and the purity of kendo is also related to this. In fact, there is no need for Jen Wushuang to think about it, to pursue more, just change his mind a little bit. Zhen and Feng is the best answer. Suppress and block. All in one go. The 8th level of the ultimate way is far less simple than Jen Wushuang thought. The more you reach the realm of consummation, the more you will experience. Jen Wushuang faintly felt that after Zhenfeng, 2 more words were needed. In the future, he can also deduce slowly based on these 2 words. Slowly landed, looking at the young man who was knocked out, Jen Wushuang pointed out and directly awakened him. Opening his eyes and looking around, he had no time to stand up, and quickly pulled back, but was wrapped in Gong Miaoi's sleeve robe and pulled back again. Talk about it. The eyes of the 3 of them were very cold. These people obviously knew them and found them with a purpose. Jen Wushuang had a bad premonition in his heart. These people weren't the powerhouses of the Moluo kingdom at all, so how could they look for them? Even if you offend the Moluo kingdom, everyone knows that Gong Miaoi has the ultimate eternal treasure, and he won't be so crazy. The frightened young man shivered. He didn't dare to have any resistance, and said everything he knew. The more Jen Wushuang people listened, the more ridiculous. A high price reward. 6th order emperors have come out. Gong Miaoi's eyes were deep, and the luster in his eyes was a little dim. The ultimate eternal treasure, if it is said that it is precious, it is indeed top-notch. The 5th order emperor is crazy, and the 6th order emperor will hunt down. But not yet. Alarm the entire Shihai. The West Sea is endless. There are also many eternal treasures of the best, almost all 6th order emperors have. What's even stranger is that even the inheritors were alarmed. Gong Miaoi used to be relatively weak and knew very little about inheritance, but Jen Wushuang knew it. The inheritors were really poor before, and the Emperor Fengyu had an eternal treasure in the entire primitive universe, but since going to the Tomb Mountain, these people have almost all been greatly promoted. The immeasurable Buddha of the 3rd order emperor before is now the 4th order peak. It is also possible to face the top 5 emperors, without the ultimate eternal treasure, but also the peak eternal treasure. The pattern will never be so small. Hearing from this person, there is more than one inheritor who appeared this time. It is estimated that several 5th order emperors have come, otherwise it is impossible to fight with 6th order emperors. I just don't know who it is. Jen Wushuang frowned, glanced at King Bai's voice transmission and said, "Ask the people from Kaimen, what is going on? What he hates most now is being chased and killed." The eyes turned, and with just one glance, the 4th order emperor town on the ground was killed, and the bones were turned into powder. Gong Miaoi leaked a hint of shock. When Jen Wushuang entered her body, she discovered that Jen Wushuang was different from emperor. Although the source was very powerful, it was still different from emperor. In her opinion, Jen Wushuang's origin is more like a Taoist monarch. Jen Wushuang soared into the air and said lightly, "Let's go, shouldn't stay here for long, we have already exposed." According to what the 4th order emperor said, Mo Gan must have notified those 6th order emperors that he would come without leaving those 6th order bosses. If the 6th order emperors can join hands, I am afraid that the plan is huge, and maybe they can be found quickly by some kind of treasure. Follow me. King Bai seemed to have inquired about something, and directly wrapped Jen Wushuang and Gong Miaoi with a wave of his hand, and directly tore the space into the cracks. Flying in the turbulence of space. One step across the sea. Jen Wushuang whispered quietly, "How is it? Have you heard of it? This time it's not easy." Lord God told me, let us go to Qingmong Island, where someone is waiting for us. King Bai's face also became solemn. As soon as his news came out, the gods replied, apparently there was a plan from the gods behind it. This time, they really got caught up in something big. Jian Wushuang was also quite shocked when he heard that it was related to gods. Originally planned to calculate Rosa, it seems that the plan has to be changed. The origin of King White has been successfully refined, and the cause and effect have been eliminated. As long as King White regains his strength, he can help him win the beast weapon. Of course, this is the worst plan. He prefers to compete with his own hands. Once he got the accessories of the beast god soldier, he didn't need to stay in the realm, but he also went to the heaven realm, went to the senator palace to find Wu Zue, and asked him to send himself to the Tomb Mountain. If he knew, Zhenling asked him to go to the Tomb Mountain by himself, I am afraid it would not be so easy. Sure enough, the plan couldn't keep up with the changes. His plan was originally to go to the Tomb God Mountain, but he really wanted to go down to the Tomb God Mountain to find the Tomb God Mountain. There was no chance to go there, but there was the most terrifying special life. Chapter 54:13. Vortex near the sea. The Guiling Island master and the others just received the news and started directly, but they couldn't get in touch with Mogan and the others before they were far away. There is a problem with intelligence, and Mogan has fallen. A sixth-order emperor who is good at deduction frowned. He has long been deducing. Gong Miaoi's strength has greatly increased. He is definitely not an ordinary fifth-order emperor, and there are two other emperors around him. A strong one. The master of Guiling Island looked a little ugly. After waiting for so long, Gong Miaoi still couldn't be found. Now that he finally got the news, he disappeared again. On the inheritors' side, many strong people have already gathered. In the hall where Zhen Wuyang is located. Snapped. Kai Shui traveler directly shattered the teacup and cursed, the people on the Tomb God Mountain come, forget it, why are the people from the Yuan Lao Palace also come, what use is the group of old trash, they are just like that, for the rest of their lives. I can't make a breakthrough, so why grab the opportunity with us? Brother Kai Shui, don't be too angry. Even if the strong man in the Yuan Palace comes, he won't necessarily fight us. Tongtian Buddha was still very calm, watching everything. Zhen Wuyang was silent, but he cursed secretly from the bottom of his heart. The opportunity of the Tongtian Buddha was saturated. Naturally, this is not bad, but he said lightly. The Senate Palace came from the Law Enforcement Hall, and Wus were sat in town. 2 sixth-order peak emperors, 10 fifth-order peak emperors. Each is a complete origin path, and just the 2 sixth-order peak emperors can sweep everyone present. Although they are all forces under the command of the true spirits, they really want to fight for treasures, and no one will let anyone else. How to grab it then? Things are a bit beyond our control. Zhen Wuyang said, Brother Kai Shui, don't you have some friendship with the senior businessman? Look. Chishui's face changed, and he coughed a few times. First he took out a new teacup, poured himself a cup of tea, and took a sip. Zhen Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha looked anxious, and it was not easy to urge them. Senior Shong, I do have so much friendship. That's the case, but the powerhouses who have risen a little earlier know that he and Shong should have risen together and are considered the same generation, but the two have great grievances. When they were in the bloodthirsty continent, the two didn't agree. He also arrived at the Tomb Mountain. I heard that Shong is now a sixth-order emperor, and he has been carefully cultivated as a treasure by the true spirit. Only then did he change his attitude, and even descended from his seniority to win relationships. Shong was taciturn, and he had this topic with his peers, and it was a good deal. Zhen Wuyang smiled and said loudly, Brother Kai Shui has made extensive friends. I admire Tongtian. If I can get Senior Shong to come this time, I think I will be at least 90% stable. These words are very useful to Kai Shui. Then I will ask. Ask. Ha ha ha. Several people smiled similarly. Kai Shui really went to ask. Tomb of God Mountain. In a cave mansion halfway up the mountain, Kai Shui's law body got up and walked out. Look up. The Tomb Mountain is divided into 88 floors, and Kai Shui is now on the 40th floor. To climb higher requires strength. Flying is forbidden on the tomb sacred mountain. Of course, if you can break through the 60th floor, you can fly whatever you want. Along the stairs, all the way to the 64th floor. The cave mansion of the only ultimate Emperor Shang is here. He was the only person on the 64th floor. Senior Shang. Kai Shui smiled and shouted in a low voice. A wave of ripples gradually rose in the cave, and a man with white temples but a very young face walked out of the cave. Kai Shui. After replied, Shang couldn't help but vomit. How many times have we said that, we are still worthy of brothers? Chishui's complexion was shocked, and he solemnly said, Don't, you are now a 6th order emperor, naturally my elder. You. Shang pointed to Kai Shui, and finally shook his head helplessly. If he is really based on seniority, he will have to call Kai Shui an ancestor. When he was young, Shang's Taoist couples were special beings, and they were in the same vein as Shou Kai Shui since they were young. He also knew Kai Shui because of the Taoist companion, and the relationship between the two behind them was stiff because of their similar strengths. Now that it was resolved, Kai Shui's posture really made him a little uncomfortable. Let's go inside. Shang waved his hand, and the two entered the cave. Said to be Dongfu, here is a miniature world, in which there are still common customs, and the place where the merchants live is above the top of the cloud. Regret the court. The two sit opposite each other. You are the law bodies. A breath exhaled, Kai Shui realized that Shang was only a law bodies, but the power made him feel a huge difference. Shang did not hide it, nodded, and poured tea on Kai Shui himself. Kai Shui was surprised. After a few years of absence, Shang's strength seemed to have grown a lot, and now he couldn't figure out a law body. This time, it looks like something is going on. Shang self-evident. Kai Shui didn't go around in circles, and said straightforwardly, there is indeed a little thing. Little things. Little things. But after listening to Chishui's narration, Shang's eyes changed. This trivial matter is not trivial. When Com his deity went outside the territory, the true spirit was planning this matter himself. I am afraid that Kai Shui and others did not know it. I go. Seeing the other party so decisive, Kai Shui thought it was to give him face, and stood up immediately, a little excited. Following Shang, at least he can drink soup, maybe he still has a chance to eat meat. He has seen Shang's deity, the trashest treasure in his body, is the ultimate eternal treasure, and the opportunity he has obtained is even more unimaginable. But my deity is not here, this time I can only let the law bodies go. Shang Wei smiled. Kai Shui has no objection to this. He couldn't see through this law body alone, and his strength was at least the 6th order pinnacle, coupled with the ultimate emperor, the super-perfect origin. The strong in the Senate had to be swept away. After getting a strong foreign aid, Kai Shui had some confidence in front of Zhen Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha. 2. I said the ugly thing first, since the four of me are teaming up, do we have to change this division? Kai Shui glanced at the two of them. With such an identity as Shang, he definitely disdains to mention this kind of thing. He has to handle it in advance. This is natural. Zhen Wuyang nodded and said, in this way, I will take out 20%, and the remaining two of you will take out another 20%. Tongtian Buddha doesn't matter. A few of them were 3, and 4 before, and Zhen Wuyang took 40%. Of course, all of this has to be based on the treasures obtained together. If you get the treasure by luck, it belongs to your own. If 3 people cooperated and grabbed a treasure, it would be divided into 3, and 4. Now Zhen Wuyang took out 10%, and the two of them took out 10%, which is 3, 2. Kai Shui wanted to say that you really Wuyang is the green onion, as much as Shang Nao. Is it just because of the initiator? Chapter 54:14. If only Zhen Wuyang can bring them in, that's fine, now everyone has the opportunity to enter, how could it be so divided? The 3 people talked dryly in the hall, and finally decided on a distribution plan. The 3 of us are 20% each, and the remaining 40% go to the senior Shang. Kai Shui and Tongtian Buddha stood together. Anyway, no matter how they were divided, both of them were killed. They wanted to raise the quotient just like Zhen Wuyang. Zhen Wuyang forbade his anger, but could only agree. When he turned his head to look at the Tongtian Buddha, Zhen Wuyang leaked a meaningful look. Sure enough, the smartest people generally don't speak much. Tongtian Buddha, from beginning to end, he either nodded or shook his head. He didn't do anything, so he took 20%. Somehow Kai Shui invited a Thai, and he was even the initiator, and in the end, it was all cheap to let Tongtian Buddha alone. After a few people took their attention, Shong also came. He came very low-key, and few people knew Shong. Except for some inheritors, almost no one knew him. Even the people in the Senate's palace don't know Shong. Respectfully presented the merchant to the main seat, Zhen Wuyang and others began to study the key to opening the opportunity blood Luojing, Qingmong Island. Key. Jian Wushuang was shocked, and said, "Elder Qingmong, is this what the gods said?" Jian Wushuang couldn't believe it. Super ruins. In ancient times, the cave house of the Lord of the Universe, the place where the gods were born. A series of things made Jian Wushuang a little confused in his head. They obviously just happened to enter an ancient cave and watched Gong Miaoi get the ultimate eternal treasure. How could it be the key to the super ruins? I don't know about this, but the Lord God has ordered that this matter can only go to the core members, and the rest are not allowed to go. He looked at Gong Miaoi with a bad look, and murderous aura leaked in his eyes. Gong Miaoi panicked. Since she met Jian Wushuang, no good things have happened. She was either being chased and killed, or on the way to escape. Now someone came here to kill her. Jian Wushuang played with the jade board on his thumb and pondered for a while. Gong Miaoi was really useful to him now. The ultimate way broke through to the 8th layer, and there was a clear path for the follow-up. It doesn't matter if you keep it worthless, kill it if you kill it, it doesn't matter. And many more. Gong Miaoi took a step back, his face changed, and said indifferently, "Do you know why Shui Luojing is called Shui Luojing?" With that, she waved her hand to summon Shui Luojing. The bloodline rises, it is the blood corpuscles of countless donated blood, crystal clear. This is made of blood condensed, you can't take it away at all, I am dead, and the blood Luojing is gone. Hearing these words, Elder Qingmong was stunned for a moment, and put away his killing intent. Jian Wushuang leaked a smile and said, "We didn't say we want to kill you either. You despicable villain, don't pretend to be a good person here." Gong Miaoi rarely tore his face and directly cursed Jian Wushuang. Regarding this, Jian Wushuang was not angry at all, and quickly pressed his hand, causing everyone to step back. His mind power law bodies in Gong Miaoi's body began to forcefully occupy Gong Miaoi's origin. In an instant, Gong Miaoi fell to the ground with a painful expression on his face, but he couldn't move. "Raise your hand and take a breath." Gong Miaoi fell into Jian Wushuang's palm. "Okay, let's go straight away." Elder Qingmong, the 6th Order Peak Emperor, saw Jian Wushuang so casually tidying up a 5th Order Peak Emperor, and he couldn't help leaking a surprised expression. He knows the details of Jian Wushuang, and as a descendant of the gods, he knows more things than the ordinary elders of Kaimen. Jian Wushuang is no more than a daoist, but with such a powerful strength, he can easily control the 5th Order Peak Emperor. In fact, it's not so strong. The main Jian Wushuang has the mind power body, which can enter the source of the practitioner. As long as the source is not particularly strong, the mind power body of Jian Wushuang can turn into a miniature black hole. The source has not reached the emperor of the black hole realm. Unstoppable. Of course it is not easy to get in. Otherwise, Jian Wushuang could walk sideways in the 6th Order Emperor. Go straight. King White was a little surprised. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. "This matter can't be trusted, many people are still waiting to catch us. The gods have given them an accurate location, just go there and open the ruins." Still in the Black Devil Sea? Jian Wushuang frowned. He was afraid of those unwilling to leave, so he had been searching around the Black Devil Sea. Elder Qingmong explained, "The Black Demon Sea is so big that you may not be able to meet those people. Even if you do, you can solve it easily. This first-grade elder is very confident. The 6th Order Peak Emperor, a complete set of the best eternal treasure, the treasures on his body are not weak, this is the confidence." In addition to Qingmong, there are 2 6th Order Emperors, Zishan and Lanyu. The strength of these two is not average, both are at the top level. In addition to these three people, there are also a full 30 monarchs with masks, all of them at the top of the 5th rank. This huge force is the result of countless epochs planned by the gods in the West Sea, and now it is finally put to use. All of them are dedicated to following the gods, Yukanshu. Com is by no means an ordinary Ki-men. For example, Shenyuan Dapan was also the elder of the Ki-men, but between the Ki-men and the clan, he was more inclined to the clan. This kind of person would not work. There must be enough benefits to be able to schedule. The dead man is different, let him hit the east wall to death, so he won't hit the south wall. Each of these people is like a dead man, absolutely loyal. This time the gods have ordered, all follow the orders of King Bai and His Royal Highness Wushuang. Zishan's voice was very low. Jian Wushuang was relieved when he heard these words. He didn't want to be a marginal man. Being able to be the leader is still very important. King Bai doesn't care about this, he only pays attention to one point, that is what Qingmong said, the physical body and the divine body that suit him are both in that super ruin. This time, he had to fight. If he doesn't get the right physical body and divine body, he will not be able to regain his absolute peak. It is not impossible to refine the divine body and the physical body by yourself, but the cost is too high. He was able to restore Tier 6 combat power and spent tens of billions of treasures, the key of which was the unique knowledge of the heavenly demon, which made him improve a lot. But these are not enough. If you refine it yourself, you have to break the tradition. Rebuild the foundation, and then steadily improve. The flesh is okay, and the price of a high-grade flesh is very average. But the divine body is difficult. He is now complete in origin, comparable to the ultimate. The divine body really wants to go down, and it can break 70,000 times. But where can I get these 70,000 times the divine body? Without 10,000 epochs, he would not be able to reconsolidate the peak divine body. Originally thought that the gods had already prepared for him, but he didn't expect to have to grab it himself. Tidying Gong Miaoyi, Jian Wushuang followed the elder Qingmong, and soon reached the Black Devil Sea. The cold wind was violent, and there was this biting cold. Chapter 54:15 Suppress, Seal 1 Careless move, and Mo Qian was cleaved by Jian Wushuang's sword, landing on the island below and shattering the already small isle. Gong Miaoyi stepped out of the time pavilion. Observing the outside world without making a move, she stood side by side with Bai Junwang, watching Jian Wushuang engage in combat with the Tier 5 Emperor. Her strength had surged again, breaking through to the level of a Tier 5 Emperor. Moreover, she was not an ordinary Tier 5 Emperor. She possessed an extraordinary eternal treasure. She had initially intended to shake off these pursuers. However, she noticed that Bai Junwang's strength had increased too rapidly, now reaching Tier 6. On the other hand, Jian Wushuang hadn't experienced much growth. She couldn't understand why, with such a disparity in strength, Bai Junwang still listened to Jian Wushuang. When Jian Wushuang appeared within her origin source, she understood. She thought Bai Junwang was also threatened by Jian Wushuang. Suppress. Jian Wushuang held the sword in both hands, closing his eyes slightly. In this moment, he and the sword became one. It was simple to solidify the word with the sword, but much harder to achieve the opposite. Kuan Tai, who emerged from the ruins, was somewhat astonished but managed to display his full strength. He transformed his hands into blades and headed straight for Jian Wushuang. Facing this fierce strike, Jian Wushuang remained motionless. It was about to reach him. Bai Junwang grew anxious and loudly exclaimed, "Should I intervene?" Gong Miaoyi, on the side, was also surprised. She hadn't expected Jian Wushuang to go to such lengths. Clearly, he was pushing himself to the limit, seeking a breakthrough. Suppress. Just as the palm knife pierced his forehead, he angrily shouted, then opened his eyes. Jian Wushuang exchanged glances with Mo Qian, revealing a sneer. Seal. Crack. Mo Qian's body began to solidify, and at the same time, a surprised expression appeared on his face. Everything froze at this moment. Jian Wushuang hadn't even made a move, there was just a glance containing a significant amount of sword intent. At the moment Mo Qian solidified, he had already fallen. Who? Bai Junwang watched anxiously, finally exhaling a breath. The ultimate sword Dao breakthrough. Jian Wushuang was excited. It was not just a simple breakthrough. He had made a qualitative leap in his understanding of the sword Dao. Suppress and seal. The two words had similar meanings, and the purity sought by the sword Dao was also related to this. In fact, Jian Wushuang didn't need to overthink or pursue more. A slight change in perspective was enough. Suppression and sealing. In one breath. The 8th level of the ultimate Dao was far from as simple as Jian Wushuang had thought. The closer he got to the realm of perfection, the more he experienced. Jian Wushuang faintly felt that behind suppression and sealing, 2 more words were needed. In the future, he could slowly deduce based on these 2 words. Descend slowly to the ground, looking at the young man who had been knocked unconscious. Jian Wushuang pointed at him, directly awakening him. Opening his eyes and glancing around, he didn't have time to stand up. He hurriedly crawled backward, but Gong Miaoi's sleeve enveloped him, pulling him back. Speak up. The gazes of the 3 were cold. These people obviously knew them and had come with a purpose. Jian Wushuang had a bad feeling deep in his heart. These people were clearly not strong individuals from the Mo Luo nation. Why would they be searching for them? Even if they had offended the Mo Luo nation, everyone knew that Gong Miaoi possessed an extraordinary eternal treasure. It shouldn't drive them to such madness. The terrified young man trembled, too scared to offer any resistance, and spilled out everything he knew. As Jian Wushuang and the others listened, the situation seemed increasingly absurd. A sky-high bounty? Even Tier 6 emperors are involved. Gong Miaoi's eyes were profound, but there was a dimness in their gleam. An eternal treasure of top-notch quality was indeed extremely precious. When a Tier 5 emperor went mad, even a Tier 6 emperor would pursue. However, it shouldn't have reached the point of alarming the entire Western Sea. The Western Sea was vast, and there were numerous eternal treasures. Almost every Tier 6 emperor possessed one. What was even stranger was that even the inheritors had been stirred. Gong Miaoi, in her past weaker state, knew little about the matters of inheritance. But Jian Wushuang was well informed. In the past, inheritors were indeed impoverished, with only Emperor Fengyu possessing an eternal treasure throughout the entire original universe. However, since they went to the Grave God Mountain, these people had experienced significant improvements. Wuliang Buddha, once belonging to Tier 3, had now reached the peak of the Tier 4. Moreover, they could now confront Tier 5 top-level emperors directly. Even those without top-notch eternal treasures had peak eternal treasures on their persons. The scale was by no means small. It was said that more than one inheritor had appeared this time. It was estimated that several Tier 5 emperors had arrived, as otherwise, they wouldn't be able to contend with Tier 6 emperors. It's just that Jian Wushuang doesn't know who they are. Jian Wushuang frowned and glanced at Bai Junwang, transmitting his voice, ask the people from Kuei organization what's going on. Right now, he hated being hunted down the most. His eyes moved, and with just one glance, he suppressed the Tier 4 emperor on the ground, turning his remains into powder. Gong Miaoi revealed a hint of astonishment. When Jian Wushuang entered her body, she discovered that Jian Wushuang was different from an emperor. Although his origin source was powerful, there was still a difference compared to an emperor. In her view, Jian Wushuang's origin source was more like that of a Dao Lord. Jian Wushuang ascended into the air and said lightly, "Let's go, it's not suitable to stay here for long, we've already been exposed." According to the Tier 4 emperor, Mo Qian must have informed those Tier 6 emperors. If they didn't leave soon, those Tier 6 old monsters would arrive. Being able to make Tier 6 emperors join forces, they probably had a huge agenda, maybe relying on some treasure to quickly find them. "Follow me." Bai Junwang seemed to have sensed something, waving his hand and directly enveloping Jian Wushuang and Gong Miaoi, tearing through space and entering the gap. Flying amidst the chaotic flows of space. Crossing the sea in a single step. Jian Wushuang transmitted quietly, "How's it going? Did you find out?" 9:48 This time it's not simple, Lord Shenling informed us. We're supposed to go to Qingmang Island, someone is waiting for us there. Bai Junwang's expression also became serious. His message had just been sent out when the response from Shunling arrived, indicating that there was indeed a divine plan behind all this. This time, it seemed they had gotten involved in a significant matter. Jian Wushuang was quite shocked upon hearing the connection to Shunling originally planning to scheme against Luo Shuo. It appeared that the plan needed to be adjusted. Bai Junwang's origin source had already been successfully refined, and the karmic ties had been resolved. As long as Bai Junwang restored his strength, he could help Jian Wushuang obtain the beast god weapon. Of course, this was the worst-case scenario. Jian Wushuang preferred to personally strive for it. Once he obtained the components of the beast god weapon, he had no need to stay in the earth realm. Instead, he could go to the heavenly realm, find Wu Zuo in the Elder Palace, and have him send him to Grave God Mountain. If he knew that Shunling wanted him to go to Grave God Mountain by himself, it probably wouldn't be so easy. Indeed, plans couldn't keep up with changes. His original plan was to merge with the Tao at Grave God Mountain. However, if he really wanted to search for Grave God Mountain in God's tomb, there was simply no opportunity to do so without merging with the Tao. There, the most terrifying special life forms existed. Chapter 54:16. In the end, the Real Spirit told them, "Just wait, the chance will naturally come." Sure enough, within a few days, Zhenling gave a place. Guiling Island Master and others are leaving quietly, and Zhen Wuyang and others are also sneaking quietly. And the people in the Senate Palace have already reached the Black Demon Sea. The Tomb Mountain, the 88th peak. Zhenling stood there, watching everything. The Xuanwu Hall Master behind him asked in a puzzled manner, "My lord, there is no need to take such risks. It is safer for me and Qinglong and others to break in directly. Even if you try hard, you will not be allowed to enter the old tortoise. I have always suspected that you are not the puppet that was refined at the beginning. If you are transformed by someone else and you have all the treasures, then it's a big loss." Zhenling's small eyes looked at Xian Yi slantingly. He always felt that Xian Yi had too many secrets in his body, which made him a little bit unable to see through. Why did that senior choose a bastard? Don't go find Qinglong. Qinglong is not reliable, so I should go to Zhu Yi. I just found Xian Yi. This is very strange, since the predecessor introduced the Temple of Qishan to the primordial universe, and reached an agreement with the original consciousness to take away the god and screen the strong in the primordial universe. In the name of Xian Yi, he spread the seeds wildly in the primitive universe, trying to find the future powerhouse planned by time. Although it can't be found, who knows if it's true or false? Xian Yi knew that it would be useless to say more. He did a lot of extraordinary things, but if he didn't do this, he wouldn't be able to keep the Temple of Qishan in the future. If you say who is the most loyal in the Temple of Qi, he is more loyal than anyone. Because he has this human heart. Zhenling sneered, and then said, "Give me something, you go back, you are not welcome here." Yes. Xian Yi's figure was a little lonely, and his short vicissitudes of life disappeared on the Tomb Mountain. Looking at the leaving figure, Zhenling sneered. I really treat myself as a human." Turning a small square seal in his hand, he stepped out in one step and went directly to the Black Devil Sea. "What? Master True Spirit." A group of people from the Senate Palace hurriedly bowed to see him. "Take this thing, you can't get in without it. Remember, everything is respected by the inheritors, but they cannot be noticed." Yes. Then the True Spirit disappeared. He has never thought about selfishness. The establishment of the Senate Palace is also to serve the inheritors and plan for everything in the future. It's just that those puppets don't understand his intentions. Only Xian Yi understood, but Xian Yi couldn't be regarded as his own. No matter how loyal the other party shows, his heart has changed. What's the use? He won't believe it. The people in the Senate Palace took Xiaoyan and started to dive, but they were not ready to go first, but were ready to wait for everyone to show up again. This is the people who are waiting for the inheritors, waiting for Zhen Wuyang and Shong. The people on the bottom of the sea at this time. Gong Miaoi urged Luo Jing to mobilize blood, and countless lines wrapped the tombstone, causing the tombstone to begin to sink. "Are you going to open?" Jian Wushuang turned his head and looked behind him. The tombstone descended and another tombstone rose. What happened? King Bai stepped forward and wiped the tombstone clean. With the previous deduction, he recognized it quickly this time. Three Kings Court. This is a place name. A name in the ancient times. The prestige is not weak. King White was also taken aback, and said, "Three kings? Could it be the three of them?" With reminiscence in his eyes, King Bai recalled the ancient times. Molo River. Molo time and space. The Chishan is the overlord, and the power spreads throughout the long river of time and space. Just like the current temple in the four secret realms, it is absolutely invincible. But in addition to the temple of Chishan, there are also several major forces. These forces are not as good as the temple of Chishan, but they are also famous, just like the hidden Kaimen and Shadowzong. I dare not be an enemy of Chishan temple in front of him, but there is also this fight in private. The Three Kings Court is such a superpower. It was a superpower built by the three strongest men, and there were many masters of the universe under his command. The three of them have joined forces to fight against the gods, but unfortunately they are not opponents. For the stability of the long river of time and space, the gods did not kill the three of them. The ancient catastrophe destroyed the Moluo River, and the entire time and space river was destroyed along with it, and the Three Kings Court was naturally destroyed. The original White King, who had just stepped into the long river of time and space, was just a small person. Whether it was the Three Kings Court or the Temple of Chishan, he was an untouchable superpower. So when I saw these three font sizes, I was shocked. After the shock, I was puzzled. The writing on these two steles was different from what he had seen in ancient times. There is also that Foiego, he has never heard of it. If he is weak and has never heard of it, it is normal, but the strong who can fight the three kings, will he be an unknown person? Obviously not. And the gods were born here, are they the people of the Three Kings Court? Jian Wushuang looked anxiously beside him, and asked, "How is it?" King Bai said everything he knew, and Jian Wushuang frowned as he listened to him. After listening, he yearned for the long river of time and space again. The splendor of ancient times is indeed unprecedented. Moluo River. How many long rivers of time and space are there in the starry sky? Jian Wushuang recalled the rivers he saw in the starry sky. The 9 broadest rivers and hundreds of tributaries. The long river of time where the original universe is located is very dim, and it is the weakest among the tributaries. Let her try this tombstone again. There was loneliness in King Bai's eyes. After thinking about the past, he felt depressed. For a while, I missed the past a little bit, but unfortunately no one in the 4 great secret realms today can talk to him. Perhaps those people in the Yuan Palace also met in the 4 secret realms. Although he was plundered to the 4 secret realms, he was pretending to be dead and hidden by the gods during construction. Wow! The blood-colored lines were cut short by Chi before they even touched, and Gong Miaoi also snorted, which was obviously backlashed. No way! Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. Isn't this a fool? No, let them do it. When they were about to try again, a powerful atmosphere from the outside was approaching and interrupted them. There are strong people approaching, stop them. Jian Wushuang shouted angrily, and he retreated to the end, standing side by side with King Bai. The White King took a step forward. I don't know if it was stimulated just now or what happened, suddenly a little tragic. Jian Wushuang, who stood at the back, wanted to pull. King Bai shook his head and walked straight to the front. Haha, a group of xiao dare to swallow it alone. The speaker is the master of the Turtle Spirit Island, and his strength is undoubtedly revealed. An angry shout came from another place, miscellaneous. Listening to the voice are 2 groups of people. Jian Wushuang also knew another group of people, it was Zhen Wuyang and others. Boom! The cave was opened directly, everyone was suspended in the air, and the sea was receding. Unscrupulous! The entire Dark Devil Sea was shaking. Chapter 54:17. A huge tortoise shell appeared, and hundreds of millions of miles of seawater were instantly evaporated. Zhen Wuyang was not to be outdone, and directly exchanged heaven and earth, and the dark clouds sank to the bottom of the sea. Originally, everyone was hundreds of millions of miles deep under the sea, and suddenly seemed to be on the ground, and even dark clouds appeared on the soles of their feet. Without the dark clouds, the sky was white and slightly blue, and the sun and stars were dazzling. Since the Black Devil Sea is gone, this sea area may have disappeared. Jian Wushuang stood at the back, swallowed, and said inwardly, "Does it need this? Is this kind of sky-reaching method used to scare people? There are not many sixth-order emperors on the side here. It doesn't need to be like this to scare people." For those of you who are familiar, cross-blood Luo Jing, Kaishui Walker is even more domineering, directly leaking out of his body and transforming into a colorful 4 different beasts. The Guiling Island Lord snorted coldly, and took the initiative to follow the Bai Junwang headed below, "Friends of the earth, we are all people from the realm who can cooperate, and we can't afford the inheritors. Just you." King Bai raised his finger at these people, revealing an expression of disdain, and then said, "Just you choppy, and want to get the treasures of the 3 kings, it's just a foolish dream." Suddenly, a force comparable to that of the highest level broke out, and directly squeezed everyone. King White forced to increase his strength, and his divine body and flesh were rupturing, but he didn't care. The Shang following Zhen Wuyang was very low-key. He didn't intend to do anything, but when he found that King Bai's strength was a little bit beyond the accident, he slowly took a step and stood up. He stood there, and that space was his. Jian Wushuang stared at the opponent fiercely below. That familiar feeling made him understand that the other party is the ultimate way and the ultimate emperor. Don't do it. The other party is the 6th order emperor, the 6th order ultimate emperor. Jian Wushuang rumors frantically, preventing the White King from going to die. Although he couldn't know the specific combat power of the opponent, the 4 words ultimate emperor were irresistible. Indeed, no one knows the ultimate way better than Jian Wushuang. If it is the deity, Shang can suppress them with one hand, and even if the White King is restored to his peak, he will definitely not be an opponent. This is the ultimate strength, not to mention the realm of the person in front of him, which has been higher than everyone's imagination. Zhen Wuyang and the others are very relaxed. There is a business, who can block them? King White sneered, "It's just a Dharmakaya," but after another thought, Shang was far beyond him and the master of Guiling Island in the control of the world. Although it is the Dharmakaya, the gap is still very large. The Shang's Dharma body is only 10% of the deity's combat power, which is also comparable to the best. Not the 6th order peak can contend. The 6th order emperors are divided into 3 levels, ordinary, top, and peak. And Zhu Jian, that represents the limit of space, or the divine body has reached the limit. With 6 bodies broken 60,000 times, he is already an absolute powerhouse. It's just that in the realm, the requirements for Zhu Jian have been reduced a lot. Just like the patriarch of the Naylan family, he is not worthy of being called Zhu Jian at all. Only the wide-eyed Tianzuan of the heavens, Wuzhua of the Yuan Elder Palace, and a few palace lords are complete and supreme powerhouses. When King White was at his peak, he was also a complete top, and he was also the top powerhouse in the top. He once pressed Guangmu and Bai Yi's law body to beat him violently. The gap between Zhu Jian and the 6th order emperor is still very large. It's just like the ordinary origin way, the same as the ultimate way. The 6th order emperor of the ultimate way is already comparable to the supreme powerhouse. The main business route is the cosmic secret method, and he has not pursued pure combat power at all. He has to reach the top in one breath before considering combat power. Otherwise, relying on his ultimate way, first cultivate the space to consummation, and in the entire Chishan temple, no one except the true spirit is his opponent. The 4 major hall masters and the 5 major demon masters all had to step aside. The divine generals once under the command of the gods are all ultimate emperors. They have reached the top level without any breakthrough ideas. They can only be divine generals, not divine masters. After feeling the ultimate way, everyone calmed down. The people of Guiling Island Master are a little bit insightful, and they are all up-and-coming generations. Although they don't understand, they also understand that this is probably the top power among the inheritors, and they really have to go head-to-head and can't fight. Jian Wushuang glanced around, brought Gong Miaoyi to the side of King Bai, and said loudly, "Senior, Junior Rong, when it is the opening of the ruins, if you want to fight, you will also go in and see the treasure before you fight. You little baby talks interestingly, the old man likes it, so let's open it first." The master of Guiling Island leaked a smile, alleviating the stalemate. Jian Wushuang sighed with relief when he saw this. The current situation was beyond their control. He turned his head and glanced at King Bai, shook his head, and motioned not to move his hands. Once he did it, with his current strength, he couldn't intervene at all. There is also the possibility of fall, even if the identity is reported. He didn't believe that Zhen Wuyang and the others would give up the opportunity to fight for treasures for him. Besides, he is now mixed with the people from Kaimen. After that, the other party will have a reason, and it will not be too much to kill him directly. The Tongtian Buddha has kind eyebrows and kind eyes. At this time, he also came out to be a good person and said, "Little friends, you are here for such a long time, you shouldn't be waiting for us." Then he pointed to the tombstone. "Senior, there were originally 2 tombstones here. Shui Luojing can only open 1 tombstone, so it can't be opened at all." Jian Wushuang said all the things he had just concealed. There were quite a few 6th-order emperors present. Jian Wushuang didn't dare to conceal too much, so he didn't mention the words above, and all other things were said one by one. Everyone's expressions changed as soon as they couldn't open it. This person is very cunning, seniors don't believe him." Luo Chuan looked at Jian Wushuang viciously. Jian Wushuang frowned, his breath soaring for a while, and he shouted angrily, "The 4th-order emperor, there is no place for you to speak. If you dare to speak insultingly, don't blame me for being polite." The aura on his body has reached the 5th-order emperor, which is regarded as reaching the threshold. A Tier 4 emperor was not qualified to come here at all, and he dared to yell at Jian Wushuang, it was simply looking for death. Hasn't the other party thought about it, can't get in and out? Jian Wushuang is not a threat. Just remind several 6th-order emperors around him that they can kill Luo Chuan if they make a little movement when they shoot. It's no wonder that the people who mix in the Moluo country are not as good as the prince. This mind is very unsuitable for mixing in the dynasty. The retreat shuts people up silly. Maybe the people and things you've been in contact with throughout your life are not as good as those who sell sesame seeds on the streets of ordinary townships. But after all, he was the disciple of Guiling Island Master. Jian Wushuang didn't say much, and Luo Chuan closed his mouth at the sign of Guiling Island Master. Rosha, standing behind, sneered. And behind Luo Sho, there were 2 people standing, a pair of father and son. Jian Wushuang hadn't noticed yet. If he saw it, he would be surprised at the terrible fate. Chapter 54:18. Just as the atmosphere solidified again, a terrible breath came from a distance. Among them, the 6th-order emperors were not a minority, and their strength surpassed the side of Kumen and Guiling Island Lord. The Senate. "It's not too late, you guys haven't even started fighting," the visitor sneered, carrying his hands behind his back. Zhen Wuyang knew the people who came, because these people were followed by a group of inheritors. The inheritor Jian Wushuang who appeared this time didn't know much. The Wind and Rain Demon Lord was also there, and he was also the 5th-order Peak Emperor. Behind her, Jian Wushuang also saw an acquaintance. The 10,000-star god. Now he really is the Emperor of Heaven, he is already the 4th-order Peak Emperor, and 10,000 ways are unified, and he has become the Emperor. It is not very strange that the origin of Wanxing was almost complete at the beginning, and it is normal for the Emperor to become Emperor through the combination of the Tao for thousands of years. The 4th-order peak, the speed is fairly fast. In terms of combat power, I am afraid that it is not weaker than the general 5th-order Peak Emperor. Forgot to introduce, the deputy head of the Law Enforcement Hall of the Grand Elder Palace Situ Nan. The voice just fell. Not only the Guiling Island Master, but the elders on the Kaimen side could not help but take a breath. Cool air. Lan Yu immediately explained to Jian Wushuang and King Bai. The Law Enforcement Hall in the Senate Palace has this frightening name in the northern part of the heavens, especially the deputy director of the Law Enforcement Hall Situ Nan can be said to be an executioner. In the past few thousand years, The famous battles in the heavens were led by Sichu Nan. There were several sixth-order emperors who died in his hands, and there were even more fifth-order emperors. Heavenly shadow sect powerhouses dare not go to the north, only daring to stir up the situation in the ordinary world. Dian Immortal dare not show up, afraid of being caught by the law enforcement hall. There is such a thing. Jian Wushuang was dumbfounded. He remembered that when he was in the northern boundary of the heavens, the Senate Palace was only the Senate Palace of Yuanyang Lake. Later, after he left, the Senate Palace took over the entire northern boundary, but it became like this in just a few thousand years. Speaking of it, it's all because of him. It's really good luck. Others are afraid of Sichu Nan, but Kaishui Traveler is not afraid, and directly asks, Sichu, what do you mean by coming here? Don't you think that there are not enough treasures in the old palace? Haha, who would dislike his own treasures? Besides, you guys are too lonely, and sneaked up to follow, but the others are still in the Vortex Sea. I can't look at them anymore. Bring it here, said and pointed to a group of unkind-faced inheritors behind. Kaishui was guilty and didn't dare to look at it, turning his head to the side and not saying anything. Seeing that Kaishui was deflated, Sichu Nan sneered and said, "You all have to thank me later." He turned his hand and took out a small seal, came to the front of the tombstone, gently put the small seal on the tombstone. The stream of light began to spread. Many people were dumbfounded. But Jian Wushuang leaked something strange. As the Kaimen sighed, they followed the guidance of the gods to get here, and by chance they got the blood Luojing. But the people in the Senate Palace got the key to unlock the ruins without any prerequisites, and it was the last party to arrive. The Senate. That is the direct line of the true spirit. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang not only sweated his back. One side is true spirit, one side is God. Both are unprovoking people. He feels like a pawn. That cave mansion, why did it happen to appear in the Vortex Sea? How could he and King Bai be so lucky? I'm afraid that someone is secretly pushing behind all this. The streamer flashed across, and Jian Wushuang was blown away by the air current, a bit swayed. Those who were in the front were the sixth-order emperors. Jian Wushuang was not in the limelight this time, but stood honestly at the back. Taking a look at Gong Miaoyi, he leaked a smile. I originally felt that I was in control of the destiny of others, but I turned out to be just a pawn. The White King in front of him was pulling his neck, as if he was about to go in. It made Jian Wushuang feel ridiculous. It's been used by others, and it's so hard. Who do you fight for? The enthusiasm dropped instantly and fell to the end. However, there are still 10 fifth-order peak emperors who follow him and are responsible for protection. Yep. Jian Wushuang followed a breath and turned his eyes to the two people who were also standing at the back. It's him. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. A topless, strong man in strange trousers, and a middle-aged man with grey hair. Both of them are fifth-order emperors, and the one is even the fifth-order pinnacle, with a very powerful aura. Bu Kuan father and son. I saw him once in the Shangqing Palace. The origin of the other party was very peculiar, and Jian Wushuang's image was very deep. I didn't expect to meet these two people here. In front of the two of them, there was another person he hadn't seen before, but he had been thinking about it for a long time. Rosa, the eldest prince of the Moluo kingdom. He followed a lot of strong men, a total of 8 fifth-order emperors, strong and weak. Jian Wushuang stared at his handwriting. It is invisible on the surface, but the power contained in it is the same as the beast and magic weapon on his body. It's the arm of the candle dragon. I don't know if it was because of Jian Wushuang's glance, or because of the candle dragon aura on Jian Wushuang's body. Luosho, the eldest prince of the Moluo kingdom, also looked at Jian Wushuang. The two looked at each other, and each nodded. Jian Wushuang didn't want to expose his intentions so as to prevent the other party from being defensive, but Luosho felt that he was extraordinary. There were 10 fifth-order peaks around him, which was a very powerful force. It was bigger than his battle. Shihai couldn't find it. Maybe it was the pinnacle power of the inland sea, or the descendant of a big man from the great southern heavenly Jin dynasty. This kind of character, with a great background, was not humble or overbearing in front of everyone just now, obviously not an ordinary person, and cannot be offended. He is not like his stupid brother. It's interesting. Jian Wushuang smiled from the bottom of his heart. The figure who can command the army is really extraordinary. Although the strength is a little bit weak, it should not be underestimated. Now Luo Sha has broken through the Fifth Order Emperor. Although he has the record of beheading the Fifth Order Emperor, the Fifth Order Emperor is too weak, there is no eternal treasure, and he is alone. The momentum is also very weak, and cannot be compared with Rosa. The arm of the candle dragon, Jian's eyes glowed with light. If he can collect more beasts and gods before he joins the Tao, and then use the power of all things to increase his level, his divine body really hopes to reach 50,000 times at the Tao sovereign level. He couldn't even imagine how strong the breakthrough would be. The ultimate Tao is complete, the ultimate Kendo is complete, and the divine body reaches 50,000 times the heavenly defense. After the success of the combination, he is probably the Fifth Order Emperor directly. Nothing can stop him then. Things that I didn't even dare to think about before were realized only in the Temple of Chishan for thousands of years. Of course, this is also related to the time house. He has cultivated in the starry sky for countless years. Although there is no accurate record, there are 100 epochs. Chapter 54:19. It can be considered to have accumulated a lot of money. Since entering the great wilderness to the present, the real time is less than 10,000 years. He has gone from Yangxian to now the battle power to kill the Fifth Order Emperor. You know, the strongest in the original universe is only the Fifth Order Emperor. This time, a huge relic was opened again, and the breakthrough road of Kendo and Extreme Path was just ahead. He has to hold it. Jian Wushuang stepped forward and followed the crowd into a space gate transformed by the stream of light. Just when they entered the ruins, Hua Qing, who had already penetrated into the inland sea of the West China Sea, followed Jiang Shong's guidance to a small and indistinct island. Many mortals live on this island who go out to sea to fish for a living. The arrival of Master Hua Qing made the mortals on the island very respected, because a legend has been circulating in the inland sea that the extreme of the West Sea is the West Heaven, where there is a holy Buddha. This time when he went to the inner sea, Hua Qing also wanted to go to Shitian to learn about it. Only halfway there, Jiang Shong suddenly realized a trace of energy. Jiang Shong said with joy, "Master, I can play, that breath is related to you." He Dao. Hua Qing was surprised. This time he went to Shitian to discuss the Dao. He won He Dao, and if he lost, he returned to the tomb Shanshan. But I didn't expect that the opportunity for the apprentice halfway to promote the harmony is here. But he still has this confusion scene in his mind. Am I wrong? Hua Qing murmured. He was sure of everything until Jiang Shong's appearance broke everything. Now Jiang Shong possesses the spirit of plants and trees, and there is no bottleneck in his realm climbing all the way, and he has surpassed him to become the emperor. Jiang Shong waved his hand, and the spirit of vegetation turned into a child, lying on her fragrant shoulders, and a halo floated on top of the little guy's head, scurrying around Jiang Shong. "Little guy, you're grown up again." Jiang Shong teased the child with his fingers. Besides the master, this is her second relative. After Hua Qing saw the child, she also leaked a smile, and said lightly, "Then let's go and see." The two then disappeared on the island. When it appeared again, it was already outside a black hole on the ocean floor. The Zenji has reached the consummation Hua Qing, and has also reached the realm of stars in space. I also know a lot about black holes. It's right here. Jiang Shong pointed to this miniature black hole. Hua Qing did not hesitate, stepped out one step, and directly entered the black hole. Colorful lights flashed by. Hua Qing didn't know if he was walking forward or the lights were rushing behind him. "Master, I seem to feel a trace of evil, right in front of us." Jiang Shong's expression changed. That breath made her very familiar, and she thought of the puppet. The same breath as the murderer of her brother. Hua Qing frowned. It was amazing enough that a black hole could appear here. There were still people inside. The speed of the two has not decreased, but has become faster. All right, just ahead. As she got closer and closer, Hua Qing leaked a strange expression, and he was familiar with that breath. Could it be? Hua Qing was stunned until she saw the back. The back was very familiar, but there was a slight change in aura, but the sharp sword aura explained everything. It is Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang in the tunnel of this mottled color space is the Dharmakaya that entered the black hole from the border of Moluo. Hui Qing could find Jian Wushuang, but Jian Wushuang's law body could not see Hui Qing. There is a big gap in the space they are in. Although they can see it, they are actually quite different. Hui Qing also discovered that she couldn't get close to Jian Wushuang at all. "Brother Wushuang!" Hui Qing shouted. But Jian Wushuang in front couldn't hear it at all. There was hesitation in Jiang Shong's eyes, but in the end he didn't speak. And Jian Wushuang in the black hole not only did not hear Hui Qing's shout, he didn't even feel anyone approaching. He was still drifting around and comprehending the black hole. Is this the universe? Jian Wushuang's law body was fundamentally different from the scene Hui Qing saw. After entering the depths of the black hole, Jian Wushuang discovered that he was in the depths of the black hole, and when he approached the source, he could feel the power of the universe. That is a realm higher than a black hole. It has the same beauty as the origin of the universe that it swallowed. Master, we and him do not belong to the same universe, but these black holes are both born in the universe and have the effect of mutual linkage. Between universes, space may be similar, but time is different. They saw that Jian Wushuang was not the Jian Wushuang in the world at all. It was very likely that Jian Wushuang had been here 1,000 years ago. Hui Qing still couldn't understand these rules. After looking at it for a while, Hui Qing gritted his teeth and turned sharply, breaking the color boundary. Wow! The two stepped to the edge of an ancient battlefield. Jiang Shong's eyes were full of joy. This is it. At the same time, Jian Wushuang's deity followed many powerful men and arrived at this ancient battlefield, but the two sides were far apart. After entering the ancient battlefield, everyone glanced around. The walls were ruined, and the corpses of strange beasts were everywhere, broken golden bones, and even colorful bones. Among them there are a large number of trial weapons, such as long swords, war hammers, and cold spears, all of which have long lost the power conferred on them, and turned into scrap copper and rotten iron. Everyone looked shocking. Even the well-informed King White couldn't help shaking his head. All the fallen on the ancient battlefield were all emperors, and they were also strong among emperors. How many powerhouses have fallen on such a huge battlefield and countless corpses? No one knows this. Even the treasure has lost its luster. Obviously, the battlefield here may be traced back to ancient times. Suddenly, a fifth-order emperor exclaimed, "It is the eternal treasure." Then he hurriedly pulled from a corpse and was about to pull it off. "Don't move!" Bai Jun roared, but it was too late. The corpse that was dragged, the dim eyes, suddenly began to flicker. 1, 2, 3, 10,000, countless corpses woke up in an instant. This scene was shocking even for the sixth-order peak emperor. Gee! The strange corpse slowly got up, roaring in a language they didn't recognize. What is even more strange is that these corpses did not attack them, but rushed toward the depths of the battlefield. This made everyone breathe a sigh of relief. The Guiling Island Master and others have never seen this kind of scene, and they almost have to do it. Fortunately, he was stopped by the White King. These people stood in the gaps between the corpses, quietly watching them charge. What kind of willpower this should be. After countless years of falling, the body has to charge and engulf. Jian Wushuang was also very puzzled. He walked up to King Bai and asked quietly, "Are these corpses under Fuegos or from the Three Kings' Court?" "It's not the heavenly monarch of the Three Kings' Court." King Bai shook his head, and then said, "The Three Kings' Court has recruited countless heavenly monarchs, that is, monarchs and powerful men, but these corpses are different from those of the heavenly monarchs." Chapter 54:20. Tianjun. It is the backbone of the Three Kings' Court. When the White King became the fifth-order emperor, he also saw the heavenly kings of the third-order court. The lowest strength is the fifth order. Their most precious treasures have a unique aura, which is different from these corpses. The power emanating from this corpse is contaminated with the power of the soul. That power makes them very uncomfortable. Just like swallowing, it is an evil force. Let's wait and see what happens. The White King and the Kaimen people did not act rashly. Zhen Wuyang and the people in the Yuan Laro Palace are all their own people, and they can be regarded as united and gathered together, and they haven't moved. The miscellaneous troops of Guiling Island Master didn't know anything, so they didn't dare to act rashly. They kept staring at Sichu Nan in the Yuan Palace and King Bai in Kaimen. No fool, who dares to attack those corpses at this time? Countless corpses besieged, the Sixth Order Emperor may have to be buried here. Snapped. Broly, who was standing at the end with his father Bu Kuan, blasted a corpse close to his father's skeleton with a punch. The power of this punch was very powerful, and it was definitely the power of the fifth-tier peak. Do not. Although Bu Kuan's strength is not good, he is not stupid. It is useless to want to stop, because the corpses nearby have turned their heads. The Guiling Island Master also reacted, and found that his disciples had taken the lead in the attack. He did not hesitate at the moment, and two powerful auras directly blasted near Zhen Wuyang and King Bai. Immediately attracted countless corpses to turn around and began to besiege them. King White scolded, "Damn it." But Zhen Wushuang had already quietly retreated behind everyone, putting himself in the center, protected by the 10 Fifth Order Peak Emperors around him, and he was very safe. Boom boom boom. The corpse began to attack in a big way, and no one can be blamed at this time. You have to withstand it first. You can't stay here for a long time. Zhen Wuyang stood tall and looked into the distance. Surrounded all around, staying here will be exhausted if you don't break through. The Guiling Island Master and the others had already shrunk the divine body at this time, followed the gap between the corpses, and began to flee. Resistance. Who gave the courage? Even if you can resist, you won't waste your strength here. There is no benefit in killing these corpses. It may even be contaminated by the soul. Let's go too, follow Guiling Island Master. Zhen Wushuang looked at the opportunity and called out King Bai, and forgot to flee with Gong Miaoyi. The Emperor Mini guarding him, he could escape with all his strength at this time. When the corpses were provoked, Emperor Yin Yi was on top. This battlefield, big or small, is comparable to several higher worlds. It is comparable to the secret realm of the universe in the outside world, but at this distance, the Emperor can let go and escape within an hour. As Zhen Wushuang fled, his body also changed, becoming the same bone as the corpse, but the color of the bone was colorful. Soon, they escaped from the vortex of battle. The bones in front were already the same as them, rushing toward the depths of the battlefield. He had to see what was in the depths of the battlefield, so that so many skeletons rushed past desperately. Zhen Wuyang and Sichu Nan, who stayed at the end, were miserable. The vortex of the corpses became larger and larger, and it was difficult for them to rush out. Shang's law bodies turned into hundreds of millions of slaying bodies in rage, desperately destroying those corpses, unmatched. After the break of this business, Zhen Wuyang and other talents followed. Damn it! Zhen Wuyang ran all the way and cursed, and the people who caught up with Guiling Island directly killed them. The Guiling Island Lord doesn't care about these, he flees with several Sixth Order Emperors, regardless of those Fifth Order Emperors at all. This time the disciples he led were all by his side, and several of the Sixth Order Emperors, such as Qianshan Emperor, were miserable, and many Fifth Order Emperors under his command were slaughtered by Zhen Wuyang. Obviously it was something the owner of Guiling Island provoked, but he made his people take the blame. Ahead. In the depths of the battlefield, a towering figure blocked them. After seeing the existence of that person, King White took a deep breath and shouted, "It is the Lord of the Universe, quickly disperse." King White is very familiar with that breath. He has seen the Lord of the Universe. Although the man in front of him is no longer in this courtyard, his breath remains the same. Dead. This time, they understood, the other side's murderousness told them, and it would be death to rush forward. Boom. A huge beam of light exploded, sweeping away all the strong in front in a straight line. Whether it is the bones or emperors like them. Several Fifth Order Emperors fell in an instant, and a Sixth Order Emperor was crushed and seriously injured. It was the Emperor who was the last to the Senate Palace. Because he was walking slowly, he didn't have time to react, so he was hit. On the contrary, the person in the front found the strangeness and hurriedly avoided. Cool. Jian Wushuang was in a cold sweat behind him, and he would definitely die if he encountered the beam of light just now. Fortunately, it runs fast. At this moment, he did not dare to be careless. The beast god realm quietly broke out, and the divine body began to climb. Heavenly magic power has also been driven to the extreme, and the divine body has reached 40,000 times. Jian Wushuang asked anxiously, "What should I do?" Suddenly, everyone lost their own opinions, and they didn't know what to do. This time, the ruins exceeded all of their expectations. The entire realm of, or the 4 secret realms, has never seen such a powerful ruin. There was no corpse of the Lord of the Universe in the forest of 10,000 treasures. Some have long been taken away by the people of the 4 great halls. The Guiling Island Master and the others were overjoyed. The realm, or all the 6th order emperors of the 4 great secret realms, are not after the absolute peak at all, but the extinct master of the universe. Now I actually encounter the body of a cosmic lord. Although it has no origin, it is enough. As long as you get the body of the cosmic lord, it will also be developed. King White was even more enthusiastic. The flesh, the people present, don't need the flesh more than him. Elder Qingmeng came up with the jade slip bestowed by the gods, handed them to King Bai, and said, "The gods have orders." King Bai took it, and only he could understand the secret text above. After reading it, he crushed the jade slip and leaked a sneer. The message above is very brief: suppress with Jian Wushuang's power of all things and seize the body of the Lord of the Universe. Jian Wushuang heard the rumors of King Daobai. Everyone was stunned. Let him be a Daoist to suppress the physical body of the Lord of the Universe. If the opponent can't move, he dare to go up and try, but now, let alone him, let a 6th order peak emperor dare not go. This is the biggest opportunity of my life, Jian Wushuang. If you make me perfect, I will climb to the top and share the entire Temple of God with you in the future. I will be your guardian. King Bai made a promise. He really wanted to recover peak, even 1 step forward. He originally took the line of the divine body. Although the source has recovered, he doesn't know much about the cultivation of the source. If he gets the body of the Lord of the Universe, he will be able to embark on the old path and break through with the divine body. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.